All right, Don, I have no idea what this is. JAWS. We have a great slide for it though. We actually have JAWS in the graphics. Explain the acronym JAWS to us here, Don. What's going on here?
You know what? I had to create it because I started writing down because people, what do I do about Amazon? And then, of course, you have the Amazon competitors. You have Jet and now Walmart, Sears. Yeah, they've been out there for a while, honestly. It even says the slide. I threw it in there because it made a good acronym. It comes down to these marketplaces. Years ago, we started doing feeds. Whenever you were talking about marketplaces, you were talking about shopping.com or Shopzilla or BizRate or these type of things where they were all pay-per-click and they'd come through to your site to sell. And obviously now with JAWS, we're looking at what do you do with these big marketplaces out there that are trying to gobble up everything they can. And so we wanted to give you a little info on them. We can't go into in-depth on every single platform and what you can do, but at least a little bit so you know what's happening and what you need to be, keeping an eye on. But I like the JAWS acronym. What can I say?
Well, I tell you, Tara really rated Google image search for sharks, and that's the evidence here in this PowerPoint. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, Jet, obviously, I would imagine most people on the call have heard of Jet. Their goal is to basically be an Amazon killer. I think they are gaining ground. They've spent a lot of money. They've made some changes over the past year on their plans as to how things work and whatnot. They are getting some traction. They don't have as many products as Amazon, or at least not in my research, in my opinion. But they do gain, especially the Jet's big strength is if people are buying multiple items. They can give you discounts based on being able to package it all from one area and that type of stuff. So I think it's one of those things. I'm still not sure on the long-term viability of Jet. Obviously, if they've got enough deep pockets, they may be around. They may make it. And you know what? I don't mind an Amazon competitor to a large extent. But we're going to have to sort of see what happens with them. What do we have next on here? Amazon?
Actually, Don, we've got a question from somebody that Tara came through, right?
Yeah.
Well, how'd it go? It was, they said, what about Amazon?
He said he wanted to hear about Amazon.
It's like Marsha. It's Amazon. Amazon. So this guy really wants to hear about Amazon. So go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have enough, detailed on Amazon for them. I mean, Amazon is obviously, everyone knows, it's continuing to grow in popularity. It now gets, more product searches start at Amazon that start at Google. I think, you basically cannot ignore it. I think you've got to figure out your way to attack it, your way to beat it, for sure. They recently had Amazon's Prime Day, which was even bigger this year. There were some issues with it, technologically on ordering and whatnot. And I think they did a better job this year than last year. Last year it felt like a giant flea market to me. There's a lot of things on sale that you don't want. And so Amazon is, what can I say about them? They're the beast. You've got to find a way to beat them. A lot of people sell on Amazon, and I think that can be viable. I think you have to be careful about selling on Amazon because you could very well, cheapen what you're selling, or you run into a lot of competition, or Amazon buying it and then, undercutting you. These are all risks you take. I think Amazon works really well as a place to sell if you are able to produce your own product. Take your own product, put your own spin on it, so that you've got something that is unique. And I think that could be a great market for that, along with your own site. I think, as was mentioned in the earlier numbers, with the 55% will pay more, for a better, process, a better service, better product. I think it really makes sense to specialize, find your niche, to fight with Amazon. If you're not going to list on Amazon, or if you are, to get your site selling well, is to find your niche and become the expert, become somewhere that people can go to for answers. It doesn't work as well with a commodity product. It's not going to work if I'm selling, plastic forks. No one's going to look for a site to be a plastic fork expert. But if you can otherwise distinguish yourself, I think it's key. And I know that won't be enough for your Amazon question, but it's a little bit of an update.
We actually have another question for Amazon.
We have a more specific. Lawrence wants to know if it makes sense to have an Amazon store or a Yahoo store, or a store on a different platform, and then also have all of your items on Amazon. I know I've seen other stores do that, but how does that work typically for customers you guys have seen?
I personally, I mean, I'll let Eric reply as well. I personally would say I would have, if I was going to sell at Amazon, I would still have my own store. Your own store you can do a lot more marketing with than you can with, selling on Amazon. And your own store allows you to get those customers, email to those customers, control their experience, continually sell to them. And mostly, at least in my frame of mind, this gives you some kind of stability. With Amazon, if you're not selling something that is unique and it's something that Amazon could start selling tomorrow, if you've built your livelihood on something that tomorrow Amazon could undercut you and you're out of business, that does not make sense to me. I'm sure there's smarter people than me that have figured out ways to do it, or they're doing mass selling of undercutting Amazon and finding the holes in Amazon. But if you're specifically looking to sell a product line or a related group of products, I think you need to do both. That's my opinion. I don't know about what you think, Eric, but there's my guts.
Well, my vote is to completely shut down your store and just be subservient to Amazon for the rest of your career. So obviously I'm being sarcastic about that, and the reason why is that's absolutely correct. You have to look at your brand as very unique, and your site really is a central nervous system of your entire strategy. Amazon is basically appendage to that. It's not the core. Certainly we live in an omni-channel world, and I encourage folks to look at all channels that can bring in revenue. But if you're ignoring the central nervous system that is your site, that really is the core aspect of your brand, you're doing so at your own peril. And we encounter merchants that have that philosophy literally every week. They're making a lot of money on Amazon, making a lot of money on eBay or whatever it is, and they've really, because of that, ignored their own store. And if there's a policy shift or something happens with one of these channels, you're really going to be left very vulnerable to whatever else happens. Amazon is not loyal to your brand, it's loyal to Amazon. And you can use it, you can make some money, you can dip your toe in the pool, but don't stay too long. And so that's my biggest advice, is really invest in your brand, because really no other channel is going to do that if you don't. Orvin, what do you think? Back me up on that?
I agree. And it really just depends on, again, how valuable your brand is to you, because another obstacle that's often overlooked is that while you're selling on Amazon, you're naturally taking away traffic from your store as well. So to your point, with so many different competitors on Amazon, it's a lot easier for you to be overshadowed on that channel as opposed to having your own store and developing it and investing in your brand. So.
Listen, brand is only going to become more and more poignant and powerful as the months and years go by. Okay, I think a lot of people just see this juggernaut of Amazon. I'm getting off on a tear here, but it's like they see the juggernaut that's Amazon. They think, what hope do I have to build up a brand? Well, Amazon is the ultimate generalist superstore, and like Don said several times on this webinar, you have the opportunity to really brand yourself and to be seen as the specialist for your types of products. If your customers are passionate about what you sell and you reflect that passion through the user experience, that's something Amazon will never, ever be able to do. That's its Achilles heel, and you can absolutely exploit that in your strategy. So I think Amazon is something you could potentially use, but it should not be something that's your core focus. That's my opinion. That's my humble but accurate opinion. All right, let's move on. Walmart. Go ahead with the W in JAWS there, Don. Don?
There we go. I'm sorry, I muted myself for a second there.
Okay, man, you got me a heart attack there, Don. Here we go. Okay.
I know.
I thought JAWS had gotten you there.
Well, I'm going to try to move on a little bit quicker on this stuff. This isn't quite as critical stuff, but just so those that know, Walmart is starting to compete with Amazon. They have started including in their marketplace. They're starting to add in third-party sellers. They are now got a competition to Amazon Prime that they call their shipping pass, And even during Amazon's Prime Day, they had a competition, competed with them. They actually had, I think it was like a week that they, I forgot what the title is, but basically they're trying to actively compete with Amazon. And honestly, of all people, they've certainly got the possibilities of making it happen. So I think it's certainly worth keeping an eye on how does that competition work out. Is it the possibility, if you're selling on Amazon, is there a possibility of selling on Walmart? So I think these are all possibilities to sort of keep an eye on. And then lastly on here we'll have is Sears, which honestly I tossed it on there because we need to round out the J.A.W.S.
Yes, yeah.
That's the whole reason. I'll give you something else. I can tell you Sears, they've been around, they've got customers, but they're not a mover and shaker. They're not, I'm not seeing much from them. But it was fine to have the, symbolism, to have the J.A.W.S thing. So there you go. That was my whole reason for tossing it on there.
I have to say, I'm very glad you didn't pick a longer acronym, Don. We'd just be completely wasting people's time on that. So, all right. So talk to us about passion, Don. I'm scared.
Yeah, I think that's the key is competing against all of these or any upcoming that's going to be this giant marketplace, and obviously Amazon could be for the foreseeable future the big problem. I think you've got to find your niche. If you can create a distinct product, go for it. If not, find a niche that you're passionate about and you can be knowledgeable about. How can you help your customers find what they need? I mean, I keep going back to examples I've dealt with in my life. When I go to look for a product that I don't know something about, I love finding a site that will teach me and tell me what I need, and in a lot of ways, tell me what I need to buy. Because a lot of times, so many stores just put out a choice, and here's 400 choices you can pick, and I'm like, that's great. I mean, when I go to Amazon to go look, what do? I look for, product reviews. Well, if I go to your site, I don't want to see product reviews. I mean, I do, but I also want to see, since it's your site and you supposedly know about it, tell me about it. Tell me why I want this one. Pick out something out of those 400 that you say, this is one we recommend. Those will all help out. Make sure to have great customer service. You don't want to see those numbers that people will leave and not come back. Build community around your products if you can. If you think that has a community, Greek Gear is one store that has a great community. Ranger Up has a community. So work on those. Follow up once you get customers. Once people have visited, follow up on them. Get them continually thinking about your brand, buying from you. Keep finding ways to get them involved. They add something to the cart. Get in touch with them. If you have any way of getting in touch with them, just keep bringing them back. And I think those are all key things to do to they're just generally good sales prospects, but they are ways to keep someone involved with your site and not just going for I just need something cheap, I'm going to go to Amazon and buy it, even though Amazon's always cheapest. So there you go. There's my quick niche.
Complete non-sequitur into Pokemon Go, Don. Why are we talking about this? Okay, go ahead.
You know what? I had, once again, we had to throw it in for fun, simply because every friggin' news source right now has got something on Pokemon Go right now. And yes, some people think it's crazy, it's nuts, and it is. But honestly, if you have a local presence, if you have a store or something like that and you haven't checked it out, you should. At least find out if you are near one of what they call a Pokestop or a gym. If you put up a promotion, have people tell people, you're searching for Pokemon, come and show me your Pokemon screen and I'll give you a discount or something along that line.
Oh,
I know
it's the worst slide in the history of UI.
I know.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It really is.
You know what?
Because some people are addicted. I heard today on the news there's a lady who quit her job that plans on making a living doing Pokemon Go.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. It's nuts. In Japan, they just recently launched, and McDonald's is a sponsor, and I'm sure they're going to roll out here, to actually have gyms at the McDonald's in Japan, so people will go there, and guess what? They're going to buy food. They're going to buy drinks. I know of restaurants that have got on their signs. I know of businesses that have gained a great amount of business because of the location they are near these different stops in the game. So I know you may think it's nuts. You may not like it. You may not care for it. But if you're smart, think about it.
Here's my thing, okay? It's like, speaking of food, so I'm enjoying a nice lunch at the park, right? I just want to go to the park, enjoy my meal. And I look out of my truck, and I see 5 grown men hunting Pokemon in the park on a beautiful day. So my question to Kate and Terry, is that an attractive quality? You know, is the ladies like men that Pokemon in the park? Is that
I mean, it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah. Hey, did you catch a Pokemon? All right, Orvin, what's your take on this?
I love it because it's thinking outside of the box.
Yeah.
True story, there is actually an ice cream parlor in Miami, Florida, they've placed Pokemon at or around their store to draw customers in, and they've actually seen an increase in sales from it. I encourage people to Google that. It's really happening. So
it's a thing.
It's an outside the box marketing tactic. I'm all for that. So I'm a fan.
It may not last long, but take it while you can. You know, in the game, if you're a Pokestop, you can spend like $10 a day and have something running that will keep people attracted to your site. It's a little thing called a lure if you don't know the game, but it's a great option for $10 a day. Is it worth a shot? Sure.
Well, listen, I'm a fan of thinking outside of the box. I'm not a fan of Armageddon, and I see this as a sign of the end times. You know, is that too dramatic? I don't know.